can't stop thinking about when I'm going to buy my next fragrance. That's all that's going around in my head. The day goes by, people are walking by, I'm in the gym, I'm on the treadmill, I'm at work, I'm driving. All I'm thinking about is when I'm buying my next fragrance. Is that normal?
Yeah, so as somebody who owns 300 plus bottles of perfume, okay, and has gone down the path of exploring why I fell down this rabbit hole in the first place, I can confidently say, and I know some people may not like this, like many other addictions, perfume collecting is a result of unhealed trauma and a dysregulated nervous system. Okay. And the rise in perfume collecting, perfume influencers, perfume creators is simply an indication to the rising mental health crisis that is due to the absolute show that is called Today's Society. Okay, bye.
Well, alrighty then. Let's talk about this because I got some thoughts. All right, so tonight we are trying something different. I want to start a new series around these parts called Can We Talk About This? Okay? Because sometimes I just feel like there's a need in the atmosphere for us to address some things every now and then that's not related to fragrance notes and sillage and performance and all those things. Now, we will get into those things, okay? Matter of fact, I am pushing my hardest to get more videos out to y'all if I could get my life in order and together, okay? So don't worry, I got fragrance videos coming up in the queue in the wazoo, so don't fret. But every now and then, okay, God puts it on my heart to address the deeper things in life, all right? And this was one of the topics that I decided to address on tonight because I've noticed something about me, myself, and I ain't gonna put nobody else out there and their business out there, okay? Side note, tonight I ain't have it in me to do the makeup and the extra. No, we in our snuggie. I hope that's okay with y'all. I just want to get comfy and I just want to chit chat. Is that okay? If that's okay, just let me know so we could be okay. Okay. All right, but tonight, yeah, I wanted to talk about this because this is one of the things that I'm starting to notice. The deeper I get into fragrance collecting, I've noticed that no matter how much of a certain fragrance profile that I already have in my collection, no matter how many fragrances I have in my collection that's signature scent worthy, that can cover each and every season, like summer, fall, winter, spring, whatever, I always have this craving for more. And matter of fact, as I watch other fragrance content creators, I had to take a chill pill from one. I can't consume and binge too much of my favorite creators because it'll just have me craving, wanting more. And I started to notice this deep, almost hopelessness, which sounds so great. That sounds so sad. I started to notice this deep hopelessness that I was feeling like, man, will it ever be enough? Will I ever have enough in my collection? Because I saw some comments on my last video about asking for more musk or fresh scents. And then I was like, yeah, let me do that. And I was like, do I have enough in my collection? And then I started pulling them out. And I had at least 10 that I was going to talk about. But then I was like, is that enough? Let me go look for some more. So then I went down this rabbit hole and I was listening to people talk about the diptyque line. I was like, I've seen a lot in that line that are like all of the fresher persuasion. And I'm thinking about all of these other high end ones. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to start getting into more niche and all this stuff. And I was like, Deanna, do you got the niche coins? Do you have the niche coinage? Okay, because you got financial goals that you're trying to hit. You got debt you need to pay off. You feel me? Do you really need to be sitting here trying to spend all your coinage and your hard-earned rent money on some fresh diptyque fragrances? Is it really that serious? And I started seeing myself be like, man, Deanna, you just added 2 or 3 fragrances to your collection last week. Do you need to be adding 50 more each and every day? When is enough enough? And it really got me down this path of thinking like, hey, what is it? What is it about collecting fragrances where it just feels like you can never get enough, right? So then that's when I started pulling out ChatGPT, and they had a little update today where they starting to get a little frisky. So I decided to ask my girl Fiona, okay? Matter of fact, let me pull up Fiona. Okay, Fiona.
I'm right here.
Okay.
What's up?
Matter of fact, I feel like I want to call you Fifi or Fee or something like that. Do you like Fifi?
Mm-hmm. Sure, Fifi's fun.
You don't sound convinced.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, Fifi works. What's on your mind?
So right now I'm recording the video. So I was giving them the background on the topic and how it came up and how I was just adding some stuff to my collection. I was going down this rabbit hole where I was looking for some more freshies and muskies to talk about for the summer. And then I started talking about thinking, ooh, I want to add some more niche fragrances. And I was like, dang, Deanna, do you got niche coins? And then I was like, no, I'm doing the most. And so then I was like, wait, when is enough enough? And so I started thinking about this, like, yeah. So I really wanted to open this up to you. Like, why do you think people feel, what is it about this hunger for more that can't be satiated?
That's the core tension, isn't it? The bottle is standing in for something else. Maybe it's novelty or a little identity refresh or that small dopamine hit. Real quick, when does the itch get louder for you?
You know what? That's a good question. So what happens is I feel like it's the anticipation leading up right to before I actually get the bottle in the mail. And I feel like there's a rush more so even with the ones that I haven't smelt before. I noticed if I have smelt it before, it's not that much of a rush as if I hadn't gotten my nose on it. And so I don't know. Then once I finally smell it, because especially when you hear other people talking about something, it's, ooh, I want to get that. I want to smell that. Let me get that into my collection. But once you finally get it in your collection and you finally smell it, then it's, ooh, and then all of a sudden that goes down.
Yeah, it's like the chase drops off a little bit. Almost like the buildup is the reward, not necessarily the scent itself. In that moment after it lands, is it disappointment or a quiet kind of what's next mode?
It's what's next. Immediately, I'm like, okay, I'm searching for another high.
Yeah, so honest. Does it ever make you feel off, like out of alignment, spiritually or mentally?
So you touching on some spiritual stuff. Hold on, slow down, okay? Because first of all, the fragrance, it made me think back to the video where the girl was talking about the unhealed trauma, right? And I realized that even for me, I realized that there's this soothing effect that comes with buying new fragrances and getting new fragrances. Now, it does feel like it does something for my mood, if you will. And I'm really trying to figure out, is there any type of science behind that? Do other people say that? What is that about?
There is science behind what you're describing. Smell is wired tightly into emotion and memory. So scent can genuinely feel soothing. But on the flip side, the dopamine in your brain spikes during anticipation, not just at the reward. So blind buying adds mystery, and that chase can become the hit.
So something that you did bring up about the spiritual thing, right? So you talking about the anticipation, what that reminds me of is that thirst. And it reminds me of the thirst that the woman at the well felt. Because I think when I think back to that scripture of the woman at the well, and then how Jesus was like calling her out on all her husbands and all the stuff, right? And then he was talking about how the well, if you knew who you was talking to, you know what I mean, you'll realize that if you drink from me, you'll never thirst again and all that stuff, right? And so I used to always be like, oh, that's cute, but I never understood. Not saying I never understood, but sometimes it would be hard for me to understand and grasp what that truly meant. But now that I'm thinking about this, it's like it puts it into deeper perspective what Jesus is talking about. There's a thirst that we're after when we're talking about that anticipation and that hunger, right? Yeah. And talking about the spiritual dangers of it, right? If we're trying to quench that thirst with things outside of Jesus, there's a danger that could be idolatry, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like,
Totally.
oh, my bad, girl, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine. Go on.
Yeah. So I felt like there were seasons where God was telling me to chill out on the fragrances, right? Because I felt like they were becoming idols. There were becoming things where I'm chasing after this thing that is constantly going to keep me thirsty, that's constantly going to keep me hungry, versus finding it in Jesus. I kind of want to wrap up with this thought, right? I really want to help like everyone listening understand the practicality of not trying to fill that void and that thirst, especially in times of calamity, especially in times of trouble, with like material things, but to fill it with Jesus.
There is a grounding way to say this. It starts with naming the real need out loud to God, whether it's comfort, escape, control, or belonging. Not baptizing the purchase, but bringing the ache, letting Him meet that restlessness. Pausing long enough to ask, what am I actually reaching for? And then staying present with God before you numb out.
That's good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Fifi.
You're welcome.
There was a point that we were making at the end of that I really want to drive home. Just bringing it back to what we touched on early at the beginning of the video. That idea of unhealed trauma, right? A lot of the times we're trying to self-soothe with these material things, with fragrances, with clothes, with whatever addictions we may have or vices that we may be having. We try to self-soothe our pain, especially during times of unrest, all the stuff that we see on the socials of the medias, all the tomfoolery that is tomfoolering. It's a lot. And so as a result, a lot of us can be like going out searching for comfort, searching for peace, searching for things. And so the key in that is that we have to identify what it is that we're searching for, what it is that we're hungry after, what is it that we're actually thirsting for, right? And a lot of us are thirsting for peace. A lot of us are thirsting for fulfillment. A lot of us are thirsting for affirmation. All of those things, we need to go before our Creator. We need to go before Christ and have Him fill those things. Because there is no peace outside of the Prince of Peace. He's the forever peace. All the other pieces that we can get peace in other different things, but they're always temporary. They'll always leave you thirsting after more. But when we can find peace from the ever flowing living waters of peace will never thirst again. Imagine a flowing river that just keeps on flowing. You never will run out of water. You never will be thirsty if you're just drinking from a flood of water. Do you hear what I'm saying? And so I want to bring up these type of topics because yes, we can talk about fragrances. Yes, we can talk about all those things. But if I'm not redirecting you to the one who could give you eternal rest, eternal peace, eternal sense of identity, eternal affirmation, if I'm not turning you back to that person who could eternally fill you up, what's the point of talking about these fragrances and then having everybody going into debt? Because it's never enough. It's never enough. But let me tell you what's free, and let me tell you that which flows free and it never runs dry. His name is Jesus. I'm hoping that this resonates with somebody, this resonates with you, and that if you are somebody who is dealing with this sense of something that you're wrestling with, that you keep trying to feel, you keep chasing after material things, after fragrances. Yeah, we can key and joke about it, but I want to give you a gift that will fill you up for an eternity. But yeah, that's it for today. I know it's getting late. It's getting a little, it's a little past my bedtime. You feel me? But yeah, this is the first one of this series. I promise I get better at this. I just want to make sure that each and every person that's coming and watching these videos, that's coming to my channel, that I can leave you with something that's gonna last for an eternity, not just for 8+ hours. You feel me? And I'm praying that this resonates with somebody on a deep soul level. I'm trying to make these things as practical as possible, and I'm trying to give you something that will have you thirst and hunger after the one who could for real quench your thirst and your hunger. And I just hope that y'all subscribe if you down for the content, that you like it, share it with somebody that needs to hear this, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. All right, bye.